should be thinking that you're building for a world where AI will probably read your website before any humans do.
I think what's exciting me about this conversation is that people are super excited about SEO in a way that they haven't been before. So that's just really fun for me. Sounds good. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Out and About podcast, where we break down all things marketing and financial services. So we're bringing you into the conversation of what we see working and not working. So as I always say, no matter how long you've been in that marketing seat, we're here to support you, bring you into all those conversations that we're having every day, which is why I'm super excited to have Josefina with us because we're always having conversations. And now you guys get to be in on that. So Josefina is our tell me if I get this right, Senior Technical Lead for Digital Solutions. Is that your title?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
To me, you're just like the wizard of all things like digital technical. But yeah, do you want to introduce yourself? I know you and I have been with Out and About for a while, so
Yeah, yeah. We're two of the veterans here.
that's right.
Um, so yeah, I'm Josefina. I'm the senior technical lead at Out and About, and I'm at the intersection between strategy and execution. So my day-to-day activities involve could be building websites, but a lot of auditing websites for performance, security, accessibility, and I'm also maintaining websites or providing digital recommendations that align to a specific client's marketing goals.
I love it. And you described it so well. You really are that intersection. I was just thinking about how you and I hop on calls with I won't call any company names, but we like to meet with like some of the integration companies for RIAs and other firms and like ask them all the hard questions so that we know from a strategic side and from an integration side like how their products work before we recommend them to clients. So those are always really fun.
Yeah,
Those
I love doing
conversations.
that. I love, spreading and spreading my role and just like incorporating and yeah, communicating different areas.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, I hope you can't hear my dogs. By the way, folks, as you're listening, we just apologize. We're having major technical issues today. Microphones aren't working, internets aren't working, all the things are not working. Ironically, the day we have the technical lead in is when all the technical breaks down. So apologize if we sound echoey or not as crystal clear as normal, but we're gonna get into a conversation because we just want to make sure this happens and we didn't want to delay it one more day. So I'm super excited. We're going to talk about SEO and AI and websites and on-page SEO and all that, and just how we are uh, responding, I guess, to this evolution of SEO and AI. As I said in the last episode, SEO will kind of use as a short term or as a a abbreviated word for AI. There's just so many words. Maybe you want to tell us specifically which phrases you prefer. There's like AIO or AEO or like there's all these different ways to say it. Do you have a preference?
Um, no, I feel like they all are just layers on top of, you know, I think what I like best is like it's not search engine optimization, but search everywhere optimization. So I still like SEO.
Oh my gosh, I love that because like I said, I've always just been using SEO as like the shorthand for
Yeah,
all the things. So
yeah,
yeah,
we will
we'll just
be
call it.
branding.
Yes, just rebrand it. I love that so much. And then I
Mhm.
just don't have to think about saying, when I say SEO, I also mean AI and AIO and AEO and I mean, yeah, the jargon just gets wild. So we'll
Yeah.
just call it
I just,
SEO.
I honestly don't think that that's where the focus should be, acronyms. I
Yes.
think, I think what people are just maybe noticing is that clicks are going down. And that sounds a bit scary at first, but when you dig into it, it actually gets a little bit more interesting because you have Google and all of the AI interfaces doing a lot of the heavy lifting right now.
Yeah.
Um, they're handling all of the top of the funnel questions, the
Yes.
definitions, the how do you do this, the what is a Roth IRA, and you're getting an answer right there,
Mm,
no click needed. So people are not going organically to your website. But that doesn't mean that they're not finding you. They're just finding your content elsewhere, which means
mhm.
that brand building starts before you go to the website. And so, people so people might be going back and forth with their questions, and then they might at some point look at the sources, or your company might get mentioned, and that's great.
Yeah.
Because by the time they go to your website, they're just warmer leads. They are people who know a lot about you and are more ready to engage.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind. I would say traffic isn't disappearing. People are searching more than ever, and I would argue better than ever. So it's more like a condensation of traffic that when people arrive to your website, there are less clicks going there, but there's a higher intent once they're there. And that's actually pretty good because you have less noise and more engagement.
I love it. See, folks, this is why we need Josefina for this conversation. I'm so excited. Okay, I have so many questions if I keep looking over here because I know we wrote a bunch down and we had a couple come in from outside the organization too. So, but before we dive in, we always say, like, what are you excited about? What are you saying yes to in SEO or marketing in general? So, Josefina, is there anything that just jazzes you right now about
I am
those?
saying, I am saying yes to AI interfaces, and I'm saying yes to clarity, depth,
Yes,
and good good content, and
yes,
and websites that are structured well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't, of course, I couldn't agree more, especially the content side. And I think what's exciting me about this conversation is what we talked about in the last conversation with Jimmy and what you just said too. People are super excited about SEO in a way that they haven't been before. So that's just really fun for me because I think it's a fun opportunity. Like you said, to really narrow down, find clarity, and then get your message out. It's a really good avenue for that. So I'm just excited that we're having this conversation and people actually care about it because I feel like 12, 24 months ago, people are like, well, maybe, I don't know. Do people really find us online? But now they're excited. So yeah, so tell us more about the structure. I don't know. Should we just dive into the practical?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think one thing to keep in mind is that, well, in the past, people would organically land on your page, on your homepage, and click around. Right now, you should be thinking that you're building for a world where AI will probably read your website before any humans do. And they will extract that content, all of that good content, and that content will go to that AI interface. So, in SEO, your your north used to be like chasing a click. You gotta get clicks, you have to get volume, and you gotta get visibility. Now your north should be we want citations and we want mentions.
Mm,
So say and mentions are better than citations, but they're both good. When you're getting cited, you're a footnote, and that is also brand visibility, and that's really how all of the top of the funnel questions will get answered. And then it will get to a point where someone might say, well, what kind of firm, aligns with uh, my kind of research? And then, a company gets mentioned right there. That's great. That's a great endorsement because if you do that kind of search in Google, normal Google, old school Google, first of all, yeah, I don't know. You would get sponsored
yeah,
links. You would get okay. It would be more of a keyword search,
yeah.
not of a semantic search. So you would be like, well, these are the companies. These words are missing. You would get listicles. You would get a lot of big companies, and it's not what you were searching for, it's what you get. And you have to start digging in through the noise. So the AI interface will cater, will tailor to that kind of research that you're making. So when you are creating content, I would say be clear, be
Mhm.
exhaustive, and just answer all of those questions that come up in client calls and about procedure, about minimums, about fees, and be straightforward. And that because that teaches AI who you are, what you do, and that's how you ultimately you're get mentioned, and the person's gonna arrive to your website knowing what you do. So focusing on the service pages and which are the money pages, just be very exhaustive and very descriptive about who you are. And when you also another thing to do when you have let's just say your topic is retirement planning. Let's keep
Mhm.
it very broad.
Yes.
Yeah, that's your main hub. And you're going to have to build a lot of supporting articles that all link back
Yeah.
there. So when somebody asks a question that might not be directly related to retirement planning, it is all part of this cluster of content that AI references when, it synthesizes an answer. So being very much in depth and create supporting articles and create supporting articles for specific personas,
Mhm.
so that sometimes the advice might be relatively similar, but the two people are very different.
Yeah.
So if me searching or somebody very different to me are searching, we both somehow find your firm who has expertise on both of us.
Hmm. Yeah, so I mean, we're just kind of repeating ourselves, which isn't a great thing to have for a podcast. But I feel like a lot of this really goes back to what we talked about in the previous month's podcast or episodes, which was about positioning. So you really have to know those things that you just talked about, who you are, who you serve, what services you're actually offering, and really being explicit about that. I feel like in the past, we've talked with clients about, oh, it's okay to kind of nod to those things. Like, oh, we don't want to call out our specific location because we serve nationally. We don't want to call out like a specific things around our fees. We'll just sort of imply things throughout, through the imagery or whatever. And I feel like now it's shifting. Like you said, like we really have to be very clear. And it takes a certain amount of courage to just say, these are the types of people we serve. This is the type of services we're offering. This is how much it costs. All those things, really being able to be upfront with it. Um, yeah.
I think if you look at a lot of the bigger companies, they get very, very thorough down there somewhere. So maybe another, you can create situation specific posts, or like you can create a new page for FAQs.
Yes.
Don't want to put it there, but it's like somehow, somewhere, you have to understand that people will not go to your website right away. So in
Yes.
order for people to find you, you have to put the content somewhere, somehow.
Mhm.
And yeah, adding case studies and build comparison content. That's content that AI loves. AI loves on also providing. I know that you probably talked about this before, but providing summaries and
Yes.
bullet points. These are like bite-sized pieces that AI quickly can extract, and they
Yeah.
can be answers on their own. This is the big part. At a technical level, the principles of SEO still apply.
Yes.
Fast, yeah, your website still has to load fast, and your images have to be the right format. Your headings have to be in the right order. Sometimes you might want to use that. Oh, I'll use an H4 because it's the font that I want. No, keep them, H1, H2, H3, H4, and also, you know, what is good when we audit is like pay attention to those silent errors, because AI is less forgiving than a human when it comes to these errors. Like if a website may load slowly,
Yeah.
someone might think, oh, it's my connection. AI will know it's like, oh no, it's your image.
That's That's so true. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was going to be kind of my hot take. Is sometimes you're going to hear out there a lot as you're, well, ironically searching about SEO and AI that AI is taking over. Everything's so different. SEO is dead. And we've just been doing this for a long time, Sophia, and it's just like you said, a lot of the same principles as SEO has evolved, it's evolving into whatever. It's evolving. So like the same things that we pressed on 6 months ago, 12 months ago, again, like you said, good structure, good content, easy for Google to crawl. They're still the same principles. So we're not throwing out SEO for all these new AI concepts.
I think yeah, the principles apply. It's just that a lot of the structure has changed, like how
Mhm.
we search better than ever, and
Yes.
that and
And
the fact that
semantically and nuanced, like you said,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yes, I don't know about you, but I I am an avid researcher about everything. I've recently had to buy a piano, and there's so many questions to ask. Well, we haven't bought it yet, but there's so many questions to ask when
Yes.
you buy a piano. Are you buying a piano to entertain, or are you buying a piano for your desk or whatever? Are you going to be listening with headphones? What's your
Yes.
budget? So many constraints, and the, the same level of specificity you would want in a financial advisor because you're trusting them with your everything. So I
Right.
want to know before I waste my time scheduling a phone call with you, I want to know all information about you, everything that I can about you, and I want to feel sure that, once we get on that call, that I'm going to be opening up about my assets, that I know a lot about you. So yes.
Exactly. Yeah, this
Yeah.
finance space is so it's just so interesting because it is so personal. But yeah, anyway, that's a whole other topic of it can feel so dry, but it's so not because it's people's lives. So
So
I will go back to some of the structural stuff you were talking about, like the FAQs. I feel like that's a question we get with clients a lot. Like, where do I put the FAQs? How, like, does the whole page need to be FAQs? Even we we were talking with a client yesterday and like, okay, if I'm writing a blog post, does that mean like the whole post should be like does the title need to be a question and every subheading need to be a question? Like, should we just be framing everything in a Q&A style? What are your thoughts on that?
I think I would say depends on the context and it depends on your budget. So if you have, if you let, for me, I would say things could change tomorrow. I find right now search is very, I don't, like egalitarian. I mean, where many companies could appear if they have the content there. So I would say first put your content there
Yeah,
so that AI can find it. And then we'll think how we
we
can
can make it
better
better.
organize it or whatever. Like, so if you want to dump all of the, procedure questions, all of those, how do you do these questions, dump them in an FAQ, and then we'll think design strategy better, but it's like just dump them there so you'll get that visibility, because
I
if the
like it.
premise is people are finding out answers on AI, make yourself visible on AI, and then start thinking like where you put it. As far as blog posts, for me, I prefer summaries that
Mhm.
are bulleted,
Yep.
and
The key points at the top or takeaways. Yeah.
exactly, and then headers, and then just talk with whatever your tone, your
Yes.
human person is, and so it depends. But for me, it's very important that I don't know what will happen tomorrow, but this is what's happening right now, and it's very interesting for a mid-sized firm, and you have a higher chance of standing out.
Yes. I love that you said human because this is opening a can of worms. So I'm trying to decide how I want to ask this to you, but I'm curious your opinion on, oh, how can I put this? Okay, like human written content versus AI written content. I'm just opening the can of worms.
Yeah.
We'll just rip it open.
I, there's I don't know how many AI interfaces you've tried. I know that you're very anti, but you're
I'm not
probably very
anti. I'm not
yeah,
anti. I'm actually really curious because
yeah.
I can see it working really well. I do see it working really well sometimes.
Well,
On
I
the
would
flip
say
side, I see sometimes it looks so robotic that I'm
yeah.
like, eventually, I just
Well,
wonder if
I
the
think
AI is going to prefer its own, not prefer itself anymore, you know?
I think it's like when you're writing with AI, you switch hats all the time. Sometimes they're the editor, sometimes you're the editor. So I have different levels,
I like it.
and I prepare YouTube talks. So it's like I love writing, and so for me, first you do go to AI to do your research and
Yeah.
also to critique your research and to find all the sources and find out where it is wrong. And for that, I prefer ChatGPT. Also because I pay ChatGPT and I want to get the most out of my money.
Yes.
So yeah, that's the one that I pay for, and I just keep going back and forth, back and forth, and then I start. I don't often like how ChatGPT writes. So from there, I tend to move to Claude, which
Quad, I've
somehow
heard. Yep.
sounds better. Don't ask me why. And but even with Claude, like let's just say you do like a one shot, like like
Yes.
it's not gonna align with every single thing, and it's not gonna be perfect on every single paragraph. So then you start writing yourself and you start like fixing it. Let me fix this, and that. And then you put it to Claude and you write a very good prompt that critiques it. And to write a very good prompt, I go back to ChatGPT and say, help me write a code for,
Yeah.
for Claude because they're not jealous of each other. and,
Yes.
uh, and I'm like that, that addresses all of these points. And then I dump it on Claude because I can only do like 5 queries and then I run out of queries and then I have to wait a few hours. So I want to make sure my query is like perfect. And
Yes.
then Claude perfects that, whatever. And then, I just keep like, now critique it. What is missing here? And then once we are at a stage, I literally had Claude tell me, okay, you're done. Now start rehearsing. So like it's done. But yeah, that's how I go about it. I sometimes wonder, would it be less torturous if I just wrote it?
Well, I think that was exactly what I was thinking because we have honestly have clients across the board about how they feel about creating content with ChatGPT or Claude or whoever. But yeah, I mean, I think we all agree that it has to go through those human iterations, like changing it to what you want, making sure, especially, on our end, like, there's good CTAs and it's speaking, there's a sense of humanity in there, a sense of narrative or things like that. And so I agree. Sometimes it's like, would it be faster for the client to just, for us to just write it? And for some clients it is. Like they're just, you know what, I don't want to look at it. Just the structure it needs to have, the questions it needs to answer, all of that.
Yeah,
So
I think
but other clients like doing the back and forth. So, we go through that too. So go ahead.
I think whatever approach you choose it's interesting at the latest stage to see every brand has its own voice. It's like, does this match the voice of our brand? And then put whatever keywords match that brand, and then it's like yes, and it's like no, this is how you can adjust, especially let's for more political or contentious posts that
Oh
could be a
yeah.
good like let's check, let's do a little test to see if there's something I should remove or something I should add in, and
Yeah.
you don't know what to do with it, but it's a nice feedback.
Yeah. No, you're right though. For some people, writing it is just faster, but it is a fun tool to really be able to dig deeper into certain things. So, okay, believe it or not, time is just rushing by. Anything else that we need to talk about as far as like just structure of websites, content, any of that good stuff?
um I think we pretty much covered. I think if there's something that people should just keep it in mind, just be cited and hopefully be mentioned too. That's how people will find you now. that's brand building before they get to your website. So add that content in, even if it's in like an FAQ question, and you know, people will go to your website first to your homepage. So keep your homepage nice, and then keep all of your content somewhere, and then slowly start organizing it because that's how you'll get visibility.
I like it. Okay, so we like to end with like one big action step, which I guess kind of is what you just said, but maybe not. Is there one thing that you think listeners should go and do right now, today, with their website?
Um, well, I mean, just to keep it more tech, maybe do a page speed and see that your images are not heavy. You'll be surprised
I was gonna
how
say
like
you come up against that a lot.
surprised by how many times it keeps coming back. But images slow down a website, so and that can hurt SEO visibility, both at a Google level and at an interface.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that because videos too. I think we see that a lot where videos will get embedded like natively, and then it'll slow things. Wait, or
Yeah.
not, not embedded, sorry, like uploaded instead of embedding it. Anyway, I'm using all your terms that you know what I'm saying. But you're totally right. We see it all the time where people think the website's doing okay, and then we run a page speed and we're like, oh my goodness. So that's a really
Yeah.
good place to start.
Yeah.
Excellent. So anything else that we want to cover, make sure we mention?
Not much. I think that there's going to be a lot of changes in the next year. So,
Yes.
as things develop, we can just keep updating on it. I think that I think like probably there's gonna be changes in Google Analytics because if people are not clicking that much on your website, but they're still searching, we need to somehow track those citations and those mentions, and that area is still not that developed yet. There's some tools out there tracking those citations and those mentions, and it's worth taking a look at, but it's not fully reliable. I expect ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, all of those to have better analytics on when your website gets cited and mentioned. That should be exciting.
That'll be really
And
great.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we only really have that information from Google at this point. And even that's super preliminary. So excellent. All right. Well, if you love this conversation, make sure to head over to outandaboutcommunications.com/community, get on the newsletter list so you'll hear about more conversations coming up. I don't know if you saw Josefina, but we sent there was an internal Slack this morning about other conversations we want to have with you. So we'll check that out after. So we'll definitely have you back for more of these practical conversations. Um, yeah, so head over to the website, get on that newsletter list. We'll have the link in the show notes. Make sure you subscribe and follow and do all the things. And we'll look forward to having more conversations soon. All right, take care, everyone.